Hello everyone! This is a video tutorial to detail how the sRedList platform can be used to support freshwater species RedList assessments. I will not present everything in detail. You can find more information on each specific step in the corresponding video tutorial. It's rather an overview of the features that can be useful. The first step to complete on the sRedList platform is to define a distribution range map, which is mandatory to access the following steps. There are two main ways to prepare a distribution range map on the platform, either creating it from the scratch using occurrence records, for instance in the case of a first assessment, or to reuse and edit an existing distribution, mostly useful for reassessments. This first step is mimicking what the freshwater mapping application was previously doing. I will first show how the platform can help you create a distribution range map by clicking on Create from Occurrence Records. You must then choose the source of your occurrence records among GBIF, OBIS, RedList published point records, or your own data. You can then filter and complete these occurrence records. When you're happy with your occurrence records, you can create a polygon range map using one of these options. For freshwater species, we are interested in these four options based on hydrobasins, as required by the RedList mapping guidelines, and we should not use those parameters. The first three options consist in taking the hydrobasins where occurrence records are located, either using the standard level 8 of hydrobasins, or a finer resolution with level 10 or 12, which should be used only for small range species. The fourth option is to use all the hydrobasins from minimum convex polygon around your occurrence records. This fourth option is useful for species that are quite widespread, but for which occurrence records are quite scarce. It will select all hydrobasins within the minimum convex polygon created from occurrence records, assigning a presence code of extent for those with occurrence records and possibly extent for those between occurrence records. In my example, I will use level 12. If you are happy with the distribution provided, you can keep it as such and go to the next step. Otherwise, you can fine-tune the distribution manually. It takes a bit of time to load because the hydrobasin map is quite heavy, but then it allows you to add or remove hydrobasins manually or to edit their attributes, similarly to the features that were on the freshwater mapping application. The cheat sheet here helps you visualize and remember the different possibilities, and you also have these tooltips that can help you. The most basic option is to click on an individual hydrobasin to add it to the distribution. It will use the attributes set in these boxes. So if you want to add an hydrobasin where the species is possibly extinct, for instance, you just need to add a code 4 in the presence field. It works the same way to remove an hydrobasin. You can also use the hydrobasin pop-up to change the presence, origin, and seasonal attributes. For instance, to set this hydrobasin to the breeding season. You are invited to save your edits regularly, and you can use the discard button if you need to undo an edit. We also have options to batch add, edit, or remove hydrobasins, as adding them one by one can be too long. The first batch option is to use these markers and place them in the hydrobasins you wish to add, edit, or remove. Then set the attributes and click on one of these buttons to add, edit, or remove hydrobasins. The second batch option is to use this tool to draw a polygon that includes all the hydrobasins you wish to add, edit, or remove. Then to set the attributes and click on one of these buttons. The third batch option is to click on an individual hydrobasin and add, edit, or remove all hydrobasins that are upstream to this hydrobasin, or downstream, or within the same catchment. If you reach the limit of the hydrobasins that are presented on the map, you can click on Expand. It is also possible to add upstream or downstream hydrobasins one by one. Finally, you can pre-fill some data fields here, such as the citation, the source, and the compiler. At the end of the process on the sRedList platform, you will be able to download different outputs, which will include a table of the occurrence records, two shapefiles of your distribution range map, one dissolved looking as the final range map and one undissolved in case further manual editing is required, and a table of hydrobasins aligned with the mapping standards. This was how to create a distribution from occurrence records. In some cases, you may want to reuse the distribution that was published in the last SRedList assessment of your species, or that you created yourself and wish to upload to the platform. First, the platform helps you see if your distribution range map is up to date by comparing it with GBIF occurrence records. Here is the species that was mapped from hydrobasins in a previous published assessment. You can see here in pink that some records are outside of the current distribution range map. You can find more details on these records to see if they are valid and if their localization is not too uncertain. If you think they are relevant, you can then decide to edit your distribution range map accordingly. Our basic options to edit the shape of the distribution range map is not relevant for distribution created from hydrobasins, so you have to click on Edit as Hydrobasins, which is only available for species known to occur in freshwater habitats. You will then get the same functionalities that I presented earlier in the tutorial. Add or remove hydrobasins, edit their attributes, batch add, edit or remove hydrobasins from markers or from drawn polygons, add upstream, downstream hydrobasins or complete catchments. Then don't forget to click on Save. Now that you have a distribution range map, which you will be able to download at the end of the process, you can use the platform to run some analysis, but you can also directly go to the last step if you are not interested. In step 2, you can extract countries of occurrence. In step 3, you can calculate the extent of occurrence for criterion B1. In step 4, you can calculate the lower bound of area of occupancy from occurrence records, and we will add an option to calculate the upper bound from freshwater area of habitat in the future. In step 7, you can calculate the trend in inland water availability in the last decades. Finally, in the summary step, you can download the distribution and the other files relevant to your assessment. Thank you for watching. Feel free to write us an email at sredlist@conservara.fr or to write to the freshwater unit at the SRedList to ask us any question.